So we've been pursuing the theme of evolving student identity across the student life cycle, across the life cycle of a degree. And the question becomes, how do we help our students become more mature across a range of dimensions in that process? And how do we respond to their growing maturity as well as facilitate it? These are the big questions. In terms of curriculum, I think there are implications for that in terms of if we think about enhancing a progression towards mastery, that then gives us a trajectory in terms of curriculum maturity. If we think about the way we relate to students from a vertical teacher-student relationship maturing over time to a more horizontal relationship, that notion of maturity has implications for how we set up and manage the working relationships with students and classroom culture in many ways. Fundamentally, that's about shifting in power relationship from the vertical to the collegial and horizontal. And that's quite an important cultural setting, if you like, for a classroom environment. And finally, shifting a maturity focus from what students want to achieve as students to where they believe this investment in higher education can take them. And so changing our narrative with students in terms of maturing our conversations with them about a sense of purpose in terms of helping them make informed choices and realistic appraisals about what their future might hold for them. So very much an organic notion of multiple trajectories of maturity, helping students both become, developing a sense of mastery, a sense of purpose, and a sense of a mature colleague. These are challenging tasks both for us as educators and for students, because these are, if you like, fundamental to the way we relate to each other, not just how we transmit information to each other. And I think very much speaks to the heart of what a higher education is, which is fundamentally helping students become better self-regulators and self-managers of themselves. And in fact, in many ways, the definition of a professional is someone who can manage themselves. And so there's a notion of independent thinking and independent self-management, but also an enhanced sense of resilience in coping with more complexity and more challenge. These are, I think, the skills of the 21st century student that we need to actively work towards, and are very much, I think, placing maturity at the heart of a higher education, facilitating maturity. And so let's step back and get a sense of that notion of change over time and how what success means for students at various stages of that journey. And as they start the journey, there's a whole sense of, my God, this is overwhelming, can I do this? And how do we help them manage those first first challenges of transition towards an end? And as they move through that cycle, help move them towards a more mature sense of themselves from student to future professional. And really, in that process, really have a clear sense that we are working with people that are changing, and so we need to change in response to that. And this is what's meant by a life cycle responsive and a student-centered way of working with our student cohorts. Not just about content, it's about helping people develop as professionals, as learners, and fundamentally really engaging with the notion of partnering with students. And that's a big idea that probably is worthy of a separate deep dive, but for this present presentation, partnership really is focusing on the notion of really being conscious of the working relationships we have with students and in seeking to engage them in partnering with us in developing their maturity. So we're both responsive and facilitative.